I saw a video of Jesse saying that you called him the N-word, and that when
Hmm.
you saw a group of black people, you automatically considered them guilty,
Right.
and you would be with your friends.
Yeah, it's a funny joke,
So,
right?
James, you're being very divisive
No,
with
it's
that
not.
mentality, because if we want to
That's
say
not
that racism
divisive.
doesn't exist, let's call it evil.
Okay.
Let's
Yeah,
call
let's call it
racism
evil.
evil.
No, because it's not racism,
Okay,
it's
and
evil.
let's say it doesn't exist, and let's say that
No,
that's
let's not,
evil.
let's say it doesn't exist.
Okay, it doesn't exist, and
Yeah.
it is evil. So
Yeah.
it was Jim Crow laws were evil. It was evil when Jesse's grandfather was murdered for
Yeah.
doing nothing. It was evil to segregate people based upon the color of their skin. Okay?
Maybe.
So as we move into today, slavery is over.
So are
Let's
you
not
saying that
blame
blacks are
that.
evil for
We don't
wanting to
need any
segregate?
sympathy.
Hold on, Charles, are you saying that blacks are evil today for wanting to segregate? Black Lives Matter, for example? They want to segregate.
Yes.
Is Louis
Yes.
Farrakhan evil for
If
wanting to
they
segregate?
push an agenda of segregation, then they are evil as well.
Why is that
Because
evil?
anyone who
What's evil about that?
It's evil because once you embrace, are you a Christian, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Once you embrace Christ, you no longer see color. And
So
once
then why do you
reach
believe in
that
racism?
point, some whites do believe in racism.
No, why do
some
you
blacks
believe in racism? I want to know why you
Excuse me?
believe in racism.
I said I didn't, remember? I said
No,
it was evil.
but
I
you-
agree with you that racism didn't exist, but
I don't believe
it
that you
exists
believe
in the
that.
minds of so many.
Okay,
that
so
we
then
have
why
to
did
address
so
it.
then why did you say that my jokes were evil? Just because I called Jesse
Oh,
the
is that-
N-word before, and
okay, are those
I
jokes?
joke about blacks being guilty. Yeah,
Are those
obviously
jokes?
it's jokes.
I think that's such a big, and I don't know if this is relevant in this case, but that's one of the big issues with believing in the Bible directly, because you have all these different languages. The word may not even be anger the way we think about it. So
True.
it's like, it's more of understanding what it is. What is this stuff we're talking about? And that's in the heart. We know that anger is not,
Right.
and I think that anything that if it was what we might call God's wrath or God's anger it would not look like what I would choose to do if somebody spit in my face.
Yep.
And,
And two, it's not just the translation, it's Satan feeding your mind. I mean, it says lean not on your own understanding, and you are, whether you know it or not, you may think that you're being perfectly logical, but that's not from the light of God. Like,
Yeah.
it's you're misinterpreting it yourself, even if the translation is perfect.
Right.
You are following your own self and not God, even though you claim to be following the Bible. And it says, I could have all knowledge, I could speak, in tongues of men and angels, but if I have not love, I have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that people neglect.
Yeah. Amen.
And people think that what they have is love, because it's like, oh, I want to get along with people, and that's not what it is.
Yeah.
That's
No,
what's losing
no.
the country. It's that
It
false love,
really
and that's why I love like Trump and Arpaio and Jesse and all these people that just tell the cold, harsh.
That's love. That's love.
Yeah.
To me, it's just love.
Yep.
It's not love is tough. It's not this soft, I don't know, feel good type of compassionate. Like, I think we have too much compassion.
Yeah.
Going on.
Fake compassion.
Compassion makes you, yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
It can be very irrational. For one, is all feelings based.
Yeah.
And I don't really think feelings matter. I don't think they matter so much. Not in decision making, not when you have to make decisions for a state. I would rather much of the emotion be out of it personally.
Yeah, there is. Jesse spoke about the NFL player Jarrell Casey, who from the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah,
He
yep.
was interviewed in London by CNN, I guess.
Yeah, I
and he
heard
said,
that.
I don't care.
I don't care.
If you don't want to get on board with me and help make the world a better place, he's couching it in this like self-righteousness. Then I don't care at all for you. I don't care too much for you. I'm going to do what I would do. and because he thinks he's standing up for his community. That's that. And then when Jesse called him out and called out like that black people don't care, and Jesse was very adamant about it. It was that was what Jesse did. People don't see it as love, but that was pure love for
Pure
black
love.
people and for the
Yeah.
truth. And
Yeah.
and he said it. And he said, if you still watch this stuff and support, support him, you're basically supporting him by continuing to watch the NFL and all that stuff. Then you have the problem too, and that is calling out the American culture, the love of entertainment, just like the Romans were before their fall.
Right.
It's a serious situation, and what Jesse did, although it sounds so harsh or almost like people almost thought that it was comical, but it was real. And yes, that's what the other thing that I like about Jesse and Trump and all these guys is, well,
They're
especially
so
Jesse and
funny.
Trump, they're lighthearted.
Hilarious.
Even though they're very serious about the truth, they're also lighthearted.
Yeah, yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah. Just in the moment.
Yeah.
They are in the moment. They are serious when it needs to be, but not carrying it around.
Yeah, it's
That's
not
how
with
you
resentment.
have love. In fact, right. That's when you carry these things around moment to moment. That I think that is the resentment, and it makes you have this. I call it. I say that people have possession, not love. That they like Smeagol from Lord of the Rings, and that they you'll be devoted to it and you'll give your life to it and you'll take care of it and it's precious to you, but that's still not love. It's a whole different thing. Whereas love is honorable and high. It's hard to even put a word or a characteristic word on what it is, but it's certainly not what is this nonsense? I don't think it has anything to do with kneeling, for instance.
Right.
In my mind, if you really wanted to say, like, I'm going to, I want to show love by kneeling. I've been saying what would impress me is if somebody hikes you the ball and then you kneel, like you just sacrifice it down. I would love to see what would happen if somebody did that, because I think then we would see where everybody stands on, or at least the other side would get this argument about when and where you choose to express your political activity.
That's an interesting idea.
Yeah, I would love to.
This going back to this thing that's that pure love of telling the truth and being unyielding with no excuse mindset. And yet there's no grudge behind it. I remember Jesse called me out on, like he called me out on something wrong that I did, and I don't remember what it was, but I was like butting heads with him, like with some type of excuse or mitigation of what I did. And then like a moment later, he's like, cool, like it was done. You know what I mean? And so it wasn't normally the moment later when it was done, there would still be a grudge. You would sense a grudge still, but that it was done, and it was that is like kind of an eye-opening situation to experience, because you see somebody who's just real with you, and it's a lot of people haven't experienced that before.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I think that is the biggest thing, that people who tell the truth that way and are truly, they're being much more of their true selves than almost everybody else. I mean, they just look strange. They sound strange.
Yeah.
And they sound dark because we've learned that a certain thing is light and are just confused. But I can't see how anybody with a pure, I know that nobody with a pure heart can hate anybody that's telling the truth. And it's very hard for me to understand how black people hate Jesse. I mean, they do. I was arguing with my cousin the other day about that very thing, but it's so obvious to me. So his love for people and the message is just so obvious to me.
I think that part of what protects Jesse from being physically attacked as much as he could be is his love, because he and his there's wisdom, because there are times when you can provoke somebody unnecessarily, and there are times when you can tell the truth and it does provoke them to an extent, but I think that people, when they talk to him, they tend to calm down. It tends to calm them down. I mean, or else they get out of control and they basically run away.
Yeah.
It's one or the other, and there is no real, for the most part, physical attack.
Right.
And I think that's like one of the things about human nature that God set up in us, that if you are perfect, you almost are not.
You're almost invincible. Yeah. No, I believe that, and I think that it reminds me of this cool thing that Jesse is cool. He's I mean, and not just cool for an older man, and I don't, just by his age, but I don't even. He's like it just seems like you can hang out with him. He doesn't seem older than you and Joel, for instance.
Right.
I know that he is, but he doesn't seem older. He seems younger than you sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
I love that spirit, and I think a lot of us, right or wrong, whether we agree, whether we can agree on everything, should get back to that fun, playful, loving spirit that, and I really think a lot of the problems that we think we're experiencing will begin to evaporate.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right before our eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and Jesse has that similar branding that Trump and the Black Panthers especially Trump has, in that he has these sayings, these go-to sayings. People are, both friends and enemies are imitating him. Amazing,
Yeah.
Enemies too.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're of your father the devil. They'll say Jesse is of his father the devil. They can't help but love him, even though they hate him. And he has this branding that Big Mama Michelle, the Fallen Messiah, the Great White Hope, all these sayings, and it's just so natural for him. And it reminds me of Trump. And
he is a very underestimated genius.
Yeah. Jesse
is, and he says he's black and slow, but I do think that he understands that he's I think he's intellectual even. He's smart enough to play it all in the right way. He's a phenomenon.
Yeah.
He is a phenomenon. So I do continue to call him the Great Black Hope.
Nice.
Even if it makes folks mad. I think that, I did have one more question, but I kind of don't even, I don't even want to give it the time of day. But
let's do it anyway. If you don't like it, you can cut it out.
Gotcha. Your thoughts have wings. All right. So this caller, Gus, you remember when Gus called and was talking to Jesse?
Oh.
Gus is from, I don't remember where he's from.
I think he was a guest. A guest.
Oh,
black guy?
Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, the black guy, and then he was, and Jesse was going off on that thing. He was like, "Yeah, James, my producer." He said, "Nigga," da, da, da.
Right.
And so now I saw that he was recording that, Gus, to I guess put up on his channel, so that he's on so that you can hear the call from his end. But did you have anything that you wanted to? Now, I'll say for me, first of all, I'm about freedom of speech. So although I would not even care if you did, or if anybody says whatever they want. I don't believe in restricting speech, except for And I think even then, legislation, some kind of agreement, like yelling fire in a crowded theater,
Right.
because to me that's a conversation. It's not even a given that freedom of speech should be restricted.
Yeah.
But just the same, do you catch any heat from this, or do people say, that's more what I'm wondering. Is this a thing with you where people are mad at you because you use the N-word, quote unquote, or like does that follow you at all?
It does a little bit. You know, it's funny. The first time I was hoping that you would ask something along about this.
Okay, good.
The first time I learned that I was on YouTube or whatever, that an enemy had put this up and
Yeah.
said, James Hake, James Anton Hake, Jesse's racist producer,
Yeah, right.
says the N-word. It was a friend of mine who showed this to me because I have some friends who are very liberal, or did have some friends who were very liberal, and this happens to be an Asian friend, by the way, but he went to UCLA, so totally brainwashed. But
Gotcha. Wow.
he showed this to me, and I was like, oh man, because he's already cut me off once before
Oh,
for
really?
being against homosexuality. I
Okay.
went through a phase where I was really quote unquote outspoken on social media, and it made me unlikable to a lot of people, and my personality is really not that way. So it was like a two-faced situation. People didn't know what to expect. They were thrown off by it, and the keyboard warrior stuff, very typical. So he had already cut me off, and then we became friends again because like water under the bridge, I guess. But he came across this, and he showed it to me, and I was like, this is not a big deal. The N-word is not racist,
Yeah.
and what's the problem? And N-word, 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 blah blah
Yeah.
blah. So like, and I was really, I kind of overreacted to it when he showed it to me because I became defensive. I didn't want to lose his friendship again.
Okay.
So it has kind of that did hurt a little bit, but and there have been other callers and a lot of YouTube comments from time to time over the
Mm.
couple of years, I guess, that it's been saying James is Jesse's racist producer and James controls Jesse, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, I heard that one.
And basically, it's like white supremacy, blah blah blah. And I had a caller on my show, Charles from Compton, who addressed me on it, and it was nice that he did that because I had the chance to express what I felt about it. Because
Hmm.
I came in and he said, "Have you said the N-word?" And I said, "Yes, I have." And he said, "Can you give me a context of when you were saying it or the last time you said it?" And I said, "Yeah, just this morning we were talking about N-words."
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah. Okay. I
and
heard.
and somebody said that I called Jesse the N-word. And one time I did. It was funny because like I was standing actually right here, and he was pulling something out of my hand. And I said
Mhm.
N-word, like N-word, you're stealing from me, and it shocked him. And so like it's just
Oh,
like a joke among friends,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it goes out on air. And I've said it multiple times in the past before we realized that it was like an FCC type of thing, and
Oh,
like we said it on air, and it went out on like an Atlanta station that we used to be on. We've been on multiple Atlanta stations, and so like we stopped saying it, and
okay.
um, at least on air, and and I even like try to mitigate my use of it because people do overreact to it, like
Hmm.
regardless of whether they should or not, and whether I should say it or not.
Right. I get
It's
you.
something that people overreact to for sure,
Right.
and so like I know that it's best if do not be in the habit of it. Say I get drunk and then I start saying it,
Right.
then
Right.
there's problems. I could get beat up. I could get killed.
Yeah.
It's a serious issue for that reason, the overreaction to words.
Hmm.
Um, so like, and I say it mostly as a joke. I learned it from Hispanics, from Mexicans.
Mm.
They say that Mexicans hate blacks, and I think it's kind of true. Um, Like I remember when I first started saying it was when a friend got in a fight with a frat boy, a white boy, and he was Mexican. And he said he got sucker punched, but he took it and he came back and he's like, "Oh, you effing N-word." And the guy was like kind of shocked because my friend, he's like a small Mexican guy. He wasn't really fazed by the hit, and so and this fight didn't turn out well for him either. Like he was in a bad mood for days after that because he was hurting. But like hearing these guys say it so freely, I'd never really heard it before, and he wasn't using it in the reference to black people. He was using it in reference to like just a negative name, and it was kind of like a joke, kind of laughing, and so I had that mindset for like years since then. And I've always known, like, just be smart and don't be saying it in front of people that could take it the wrong way and stuff like that. But, you know, with the recorded word now, it's like out there. And there may be somebody out there that really takes it the wrong way. And so,
I'm hoping that doesn't happen.
Me too. I mean, I hope I don't get killed over having said the N-word.
Right.
But
I mean, people really do take it so seriously. And I really think people underestimate or they're just not thinking about this when they talk about white privilege.
Yeah.
I mean, I can say anything, anywhere.
Right.
And it's just fine. It's just okay.
And you know, part of that is whites, if they... The N-word aside, let's leave that behind. But even if they did start to say the N-word, which I think a lot of them are starting to say it, and I think it might be out of the wrong spirit. Most likely it is. But they are using it. Some of them are not. Some of them are just, I mean, some of them are not in a wrong spirit. They're just, I assume, they're just using it just because it's like in the language now.
Right.
It's been brought into the language, and it is a taboo, and it's defying the taboo. And if whites were to just start doing it and be shameless and not back down, not be afraid of getting fired, you know, all these things like this guy that came on Jesse's show, The Fallen State, Gunplay. He has like a swastika tattoo somewhere. Maybe on his neck or somewhere. I haven't seen the show yet, but I was like, yeah, whites couldn't do that. But then actually I said, whites could do that if they were just shameless. Look at Kid Rock. Kid Rock has this sort of FU mentality that I think a lot of people really respect. I mean, I think he really does love all people, black people. I mean, maybe he's an angry person, who knows? He probably is. But I mean, like in a sense, he's old school, respectable American.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I was about to say, that a-hole thing. And it's like he doesn't. So because he wears it that way, and because he's unapologetic, he just finds himself in a position where he doesn't have to apologize. That mind power.
Yes. And so whites could be like that because that's what helps blacks be able to say what they want to say. They do not apologize. Right or wrong, they do not apologize. Even like Maxine Waters, like she's so shameless in her evil that she just continues on. And she is like, I don't believe she's getting away with it because, I mean, evil is its own destruction. And it's a bad situation. And the people who are misled by her are in a bad situation, but she's following one of the laws of nature, I think. And that's shamelessness. Yeah.
She's another phenomenon. I don't like her at all politically.
Yeah.
But I have to marvel at how in the world she has been able to be this successful for this long. I just cannot imagine that she can campaign and that people would want to vote for her.
Yeah.
I don't, it's amazing to me.
It's a lot like Al Sharpton. I think they just don't apologize. They trudge on. And they have a lot of haters, but they have a lot of people who...
And they just keep going.
Yeah. They don't back down.
Yeah, so I guess I do have to start respecting that part a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they're evil, but that's my best explanation for why they're still there. And
Well,
evil does support the worst of the worst. And I mean, I think they're among the worst. I think they're worse than the people who support them, in a sense.
yeah, I mean, Maxine Waters is, I've adopted that nickname, the Wicked Witch of the West,
Yeah.
with describing her. Even the sound of her voice. And I don't like to talk about people this way, especially she's an old lady. So I don't. But she sounds wicked to me.
Yeah.
Her voice, she sounds like she has this wicked bullhorn stuck in her throat, and she just always just. James, I've gotten through about like 90%. I was scratching off a couple questions as I went through, but I know I took so much more of the 30 minutes, man.
No problem. So. I appreciate the interview. I like in-depth interviews, so don't sweat it. I'm taking Joel's going to come in here and he needs to record something, but I'll apologize to him on my and your behalf, but don't sweat it.
All right, cool. Well, and apologize. If I've held up Joel or anybody else, man. You say he's coming? He'll be on camera. I can apologize to him.
Oh, you know what? I can call him in if you want.
Yeah, let me apologize.
Hey, Joel, you still here? Come in and come on camera. Maybe put yourself on camera. Toshan wants to apologize to you because we went an hour overtime.
Yeah. Oh gosh, an hour.
You're fine. You're fine with me, but it's more than what Joel was expecting for sure.
Yeah.
No worries,
hey, what's up, Joel?
Hey, man. No worries, man.
And we got to thank Joel because if it weren't for him, like I'd be doing this from my computer and it would look so hokey.
Oh, I was hoping. I was so glad when you said you would have it. I was like, yeah, man, that's gonna make it look good. Nice and professional for me. So that's what's up, man. Well, look, man, go ahead, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Again, thank you so much. Hopefully we can do this again. I'll be listening to you tomorrow morning and see you at church.
Cool.
Well, is Jesse doing church?
Yeah, he'll be back in time, I believe. Like he's scheduled to fly back in on I think tomorrow. I'm not sure, but yeah, we will have church and maybe I'll have you on my show and we'll talk a little more.
All right, that would be awesome, man.
Yeah. Cool. Right. Thanks, Toshan.
Yeah, thank you, James.
And good luck with your program.
Thanks a lot. Oh, and I wanted to say also, you really, and this is kind of for the people, but I talked to you, was it one time, and this is one, I love helpful people. And so you gave me like one little hint about my video. So I like when people do that, and it, so it instantly boosted the quality of my brand. So thank you for that.
Cool, you're welcome. Yeah, I'm glad to help. That was the purpose of my letting you know about that.
Yep, no, cool. I could tell I got that spirit. All right, man, thanks, James.
All right, take care, Toshan. Thank you.
Peace.
Bye.
Oh.